the CEO can still be the chief janitor
For sure.
because I'm not too high up on my high horse to say, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna leave that for somebody else. But like you said, I'm seeing it. So you might think in your head, oh, once you get to the top, once you a boss,
No.
I'm gonna kick my feet up and watch TV.
No.
You gotta be still willing to clean the bathrooms if you got to, because you have pride in what you doing and
what you building.
I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.
Everything about you.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, StephenMotivate, back again with another episode of Wealthy Thoughts, here with my co-host, your friend and mine,
Steve James. What's up, y'all?
What's up, bro?
Chillin', man.
Man, I think that a lot of people been asking, like, how did we get into all of this? Who put us on? Who mentored us? Who gave us the game? And I think that's what we should talk about today. Like, throughout all of our experiences, everything we done been through, as it relates to entrepreneurship, building wealth, trying to get ahead, trying to succeed monetarily, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Who put us on? Who taught us the game? What would be your answer to that?
Well, I don't have like an official mentor.
All right,
someone
you gonna hurt somebody's feelings.
you can just call somebody and say, hey, put me on. I think for me, just being around like-minded people kind of did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing seeing just other friends that are, trucking along, like seeing that how they're moving.
Wait, is this the first time you really publicly announced that I'm your mentor?
Yeah, it might be.
Okay. You're
Well,
welcome.
We're just doing it for clickbait. But
Never. Your friends never want to give you your full appreciation.
no, but honestly, like I said, I don't have a mentor, and it's actually kind of sad that I don't have a mentor. I don't have I have people I can call and
Those are your mentors then.
Yeah, but I'm talking when I think mentor, I think someone who has $1 billion. And when I call them, they're like, yeah, let me call you back because I'm about to get on the yacht. That's what I think of when I think of mentor. So I don't have, you know what I mean? But I have very successful people that are around me that I can call and, if I need to ask questions. Peers, my peers, my friends, I have very successful friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think for me, it was my parents just seeing how they're moving as entrepreneurs, because I grew up in entrepreneur home.
Yeah.
So I think that was my biggest mentorship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I got to see firsthand,
Because your mom is an entrepreneur.
my
She's
mom,
always been.
she was doing cosmetology and daycare. She's been doing daycare since I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
So I've seen that. I've never seen my mom go to an actual job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then my pops was doing photography. He was a Nike rep. You know what I mean? So that, those are my mentors. My parents were literally my mentor when it comes to that. Now, being older, now, just meeting other people and kind of just bouncing ideas off. But I mean, pretty much I'm self-mentored.
Taught. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes to, all of that stuff.
I don't know if you can be self-mentored, technically.
Self-taught,
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, self-taught. You can mentor yourself. I mentor myself. I talk to myself you better get it together. You be out on the street.
You better get it together, Doc. Yeah,
but I think
that's real.
I think in all actuality, being in the game of what you're doing that's the thing. It's like, oh, okay, I'm failing because of not knowing, what to do. So like being actually active in doing something is what's going to, you know, you're self-taught. Like,
Yeah.
Self mistakes, you know what I mean? Self-funded.
Yeah.
I've never had a
Windfall
investor.
of investment. Yeah.
I've never had no one say, here goes this, go make it work. Never had that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard for me, because it's like, well, if I ain't never had, you know, and it's tough. I don't even like even saying that, because I get kind of frustrated. It's like, I need capital.
Yeah.
But that's when it comes to having a mentor, because then the mentor can say, well, this is how you go get capital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm learning how to get funding and all of that stuff from peers that are doing it.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, let's try this. Now we trying everything out together. So it's, you know, when you don't have the proper, when you don't have the proper leadership in that sense, it's, you know, it's harder.
Yeah, it's tough. And I feel like as Black people, there's a lot we just don't know. Like, not many of our parents were, you know, while they are mentors, and it's great that your parents were your mentors, and I could say mine were too, and I'll talk about that, but we don't really have we only got so much. It's like only so much they could show us, which is, we're grateful for what they did show us, and where they gave us the baton at was what they knew.
Right.
You know, but it's kind of like a back and forth. So I agree with that for sure. It is a little disheartening, a little sad. You think, but I also think it's probably a little fairy tale-ish, that I think there's a lot of people that ain't really had mentors. Sometimes I feel like as Black people, we feel like we had a lot less, and we did, and we do, but some of it is like a lot of entrepreneurs haven't had, you know, the real step-by-step process. Yeah. Mentorship's a lot bigger now because you got online coaches,
Right.
So if you ask me the same question, I would first probably start with my parents too. My mom used to do like, and I don't think she ever sold them, but she used to create like these bookmarks. They were crosses. So she'd use like ribbons, and people would love them. And, you know, I remember that distinctly. And then my dad, since I was born, he was always a pastor. So he had, I think prior to that, had a job. And I may have been alive when he had a job, but I was too young to remember. But shortly after that, he was a pastor, and I saw him doing that all the time. And I remember, like, I had to be maybe 8, 9, or 10, somewhere in that range. And our dad would drop us off at our private school and pick us up from private school.
You went to private school?
You knew that. Maybe you didn't. But I went to private school from basically preschool through sophomore year. And I really appreciate my parents for that, because in retrospect, a lot of my experience with culture, the American culture, white culture, rich folks, you know, is because I went to that private school, and I didn't realize they were rich, or, you know, some of them wouldn't even consider themselves rich. But, you know, like one of my best friends, Matthew, who was in the wedding, he, you know, his dad was a doctor, and they lived on a big plot of land, had a pond, had 2 Dobermans. I would go over their house. I mean, the first time I went over their house, their remote was like the size of this table. I was like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And it was like mind blowing. And, you know, their dad owned a plane and stuff like that. And like we would hoop in his backyard. He had like the gorilla, I think it was a gorilla goal, or you remember those?
Yeah, the gorilla goal.
Yeah, it was like the best goal you could get. Like
you had a gorilla goal, you had some change.
Yeah, it was. So that was super stretching for me. But rewinding it back, 8, 9, or 10, I'd be with my dad, and one day he was going around kind of after he picked us up from school and showing us his life, or showing me, I think. I don't think my brother was with me for whatever reason. And he was like, I'm going to show you what I do all day. And it was actually, I think I was mad at first because I wanted to go home. But we like went to a nursing home, and he like went and talked to a family or something and prayed for them. Then we like went to a hospital. Then we like, it was like he just kept going and checking on people. And then we like went to people, he was like doing home visits. Hey, how y'all doing? Da 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 da. You know, checking on stuff. It would be like either people was going through a situation, or it was a death in the family, or somebody was sick, and I was like, dang, this is what he spends his day doing, like being there for people.
Right.
And so that was, you know, you don't think about that as entrepreneurship so much, but in retrospect, from my viewpoint now, he didn't have nobody giving him no schedule.
Yeah.
He was just doing what he would say, what God was calling him to do. But at the same time, it was like he was his own boss in a sense.
Right.
And he was like, this is what I need to do to keep the church healthy and to, show people that be the hands and feet of Jesus, as you hear
Right.
people talk about that.
Right.
So for me, that was kind of like my first sort of mentorship and entrepreneurship, because I'm like, my dad, he comes home late. I just, you could tell his schedule was very sporadic, very like, dang, Dad, you going again? I'm gonna try to make it to your game. Or he'd come in late, then he'd be yelling at the refs, and then we had to stay for the varsity game when I was playing JV, so he'd leave. But I know that he was just like always on the move, and so for me, I definitely get some of that entrepreneurial bone. That sort of make your own schedule. Like, I'm not just a 9 to 5 and then go, sit on the couch and sleep all day. It just ain't in me. I think the other is in me. Like, we got to be doing something. That sort of almost that hustle, that move around, let's make things happen sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I would say that's some of my first mentors. So I definitely agree. The parenting is huge. I mean, I think that's why
it's important. I mean, what other way? Like, I would want to be able to, for my kids to be like, my dad is my mentor.
Yeah.
Because we have the knowledge to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think coming up too, like just coming up from where we're from, and there's a lot of gatekeeping. So
yeah,
when it comes to people actually putting you on, it's like, I'm actually not going to put you on because I don't want to see you do better than me. And I think that is what we kind of run into a lot in society.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I know for a fact that that's just like, why can't you give me, you know what I mean? Like even the business type of things, like when I started the Uber, when I was driving for, the family that I was driving for when I used to drive the Uber Lux in
right.
black, you know what I mean? It was just like, okay, well, we doing a 60-40 split, and I'm doing all the work, but I'm giving you all the money. Like, how can I get into this? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And there's never well, this is how you do it. It's just like, they're actually not they're not accepting any more cars.
Yeah, the gate's closed, buddy.
Yeah. And yeah, when we first started, we got 30 of them. So
yeah, so
like,
sorry,
bro, I'm
you
trying to
missed
get
the boat.
one. So I think gatekeeping is a very real thing, and I think a lot of people need to get out of that habit of not putting people on.
Well, yeah, I think that's.
And when I say putting people on, I don't mean like, hey, it's just like if you know something, like how we started this podcast. This is free game.
Yeah, we're giving you free information that you wouldn't otherwise
this
get.
is not, if you're tuning in and you're locked in with what we got going on, you're seeing and hearing free game. Like, and there's no gatekeeping of that. Like if someone calls us and say, hey, I have so many people call and say, hey, so when you got your Airbnb, how did you, like, it's a difference when you tell somebody than like not telling them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's so much money in the world that me telling you something about an Airbnb is not going to stop my situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think a lot of people, and it's just weird. I don't know why it's like that.
Oh, I know why it's like that. It's because this is the reason it's like that. You hear it all the time. Snoop just say, "Game is to be sold, not to be told."
Yeah.
Chinks, one of my favorite songs from him is "Ain't Nobody Gonna Tell You How to Get Rich."
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him. But I think it's like that is because once, just like you were saying earlier, my parents taught me, but nobody else really showed me the step-by-step way. And I think that's what happens for a lot of people. It's like, okay, nobody showed me, so you got to show yourself. And I think that's why it's like that. And
I get that. Yeah. I understand that, but then I don't, because it
ain't necessarily right. Don't make it right.
Yeah,
but
it's just
it's how it is.
It's definitely how it is.
It don't make it necessary. But
and then you can only go so far. Your parents can only take you so far.
Yeah, they can only tell you so
you
much.
Know what I mean?
But we're in a generation with social media. There is a benefit of us giving people free game now.
For sure.
Whereas in the past, it's like, how do I benefit at all?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the benefit for us is our audience grows, our community grows, people are truly helped, and we can get around more like-minded people, and who knows what can flourish from that. So it's like we're sowing a seed,
Right.
and we're looking at it as that. But back in the day, it's like, all right, if I put you on, it's less for me.
Yeah. What do I get out of that?
So
Yeah, I guess we're in a different era.
we're in a different era, and that's why the gatekeeping, like now, it's like don't make as much sense to do. But like if I go back to let me think, when I left college, right? Well, you think about like the partying.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody put it when we was in college and we was throwing parties. Nobody put us on.
Yeah, we did
that.
ourselves.
You happen to have the first when you turned 21 and we did that first party.
Slapped.
It did slap. That was a crazy situation, and
that was us
asking questions.
Yep, and being active.
Yeah,
Like, oh, we're gonna do this and see what happens. So then when you see that, and I feel like that's just been a trajectory of
it has been. But see, you
of
had
everything that we're
you had the cachet of like a lot of people knew you. It was you know, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I was your friend. I'm like, yeah, I saw the opportunity too. Like, but somebody has to do. You got to have. Trying to think how we say this because I don't want to make it seem like I did a bunch of the groundwork and you was just the face because I feel like it was a mix.
Yeah.
But I still feel like there was, especially for that first one, there was some role playing that needed to happen.
Yeah.
And you got to understand the role you play. And like when we first, people were coming because it was marketed as your birthday.
Right.
They didn't know that, you know, I forget who that dude was that ran Riley Brothers or Riley Brothers, whatever. That dude. It was a lot of back and forth with, okay, do we get this or will we have drinks or how much is it going to cost and all of that. And, you know, I remember being a part of all that, but you have to like, you know, I think the thing is like, you just have to kind of, and this is why we always tell people to start because that's the way we started. We just got out there and did it. We partnered up in a way and then we just did it. And there was a trust there because we wasn't even trying to make like a whole bunch of money. We were just trying to have a good time. Yeah. It
so
was
for those
pure.
who don't know, a little backstory. When we were in college at Purdue, we my 21st birthday, which is crazy because everyone was still like 19. I'm like, why am I that much older than everybody?
Yeah.
And I didn't get held back. So before y'all do the jokes,
Because you had a late birthday.
had a late birthday.
Yeah.
But so I was 21. I'm freshman at, well, no, I might have been a sophomore. I'm a sophomore.
37 as a freshman.
Why am I the only person in the bars? Everybody else can't get in the bars yet.
Wait a minute.
But backstory, we
Hanging
were
with the seniors as a freshman. What the world?
we partnered up. Me and Steve, we did the very first birthday party, and it slapped. And we like, man, like we can really do this. So then we became promoters at Purdue.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then we partnered up with
Other friends.
with our other buddies, and it turned up from there. So, you know, we have a reputation at Purdue that I think that's what kind of made our experience as well, because we were
The best times of my life.
we were doing some. I mean, we were bringing artists to Purdue. You know what I mean? It was just like a fun time, but that is what, you know, got the entrepreneurial spirit. Like we were doing that in college. We didn't have no job. Well, we did have jobs, but we was just doing that just.
But you know what?
To do it.
Do you regret us not going to
Absolutely.
Chicago?
Oh, to Chicago.
I'm
You
talking about like
after
there
we
was
graduated?
there was an opportunity there
100%.
to get with what's Juan Buddy
Juan's
name?
buddy, yeah.
World famous kid.
Yeah.
Y'all can look him up. He's super popping, been popping. We was introduced to him by a mutual friend way long time ago. And we could have kept down that path. I don't regret where I'm at.
I shouldn't say regret, no, because I mean things happen how
they supposed to.
yeah, they're supposed to for sure.
But when
I
you,
probably would have never went to LA, so I don't know. It's just like
yeah. But I don't know. I wonder how things would have been. It would have been crazy. That's back when Green Dolphin was popping in Chicago.
yeah,
You got to be old to know about that. But nobody told us, you know, nobody gave us the full game plan on that. And we just kind of did it. Now, I got another story like that where so when I moved back home, instead of going to Chicago, and I started working with my dad with the nonprofit, the nonprofit had lost its IRS status. And so people now come to me, about nonprofit and stuff. And very few come to me now because I don't really market it as something that I do. But people always wonder, like, how do you know about 501c3? And I literally, for probably 2 weeks, I ain't have nothing to do. My dad's nonprofit had lost its
Status.
tax exempt status, 501, so that where people can donate to you and you can get them a receipt, and that's like a donation that's like actually legally tax deductible because you're a 501c3, for those who don't know. And so I was just like, all right, how can I add value? How can I help my father? And I started reading through. I went online. It's like, how do you get this back? They've had it. The organization's been around since 1992. How do you get it back? I'm just one of those people that's nerdy enough to go
search
it out. And I read, the document was long. If you ever looked at IRS stuff, this is why accountants are worth their money. You still need to watch them, but they worth their money because them IRS documents be long and confusing. But if you really take your time, and especially if you ain't got 1,000 things pulling on you, I was probably, 22, 23 at the time, something like that, graduating school. So I just took my time and read it just like I was in a class. And I went through line by line. I was like, oh, we need to do this, do this, do this. And come to find out, it wasn't difficult.
Yeah.
But the reason I say this, when we're asked the question, who mentored us, sometimes it's just stopping and reading.
And reading it, yeah.
Like,
because we live in that. I mean, everything is Googleable.
Everything is Googleable. Everything.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's just what it is. Like the internet, and I think that's where we win, is by being ahead of the curve when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Being tech savvy, and knowing the power of the internet and knowing the power of, just research.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, it's like the question that you're asking me sometimes, and some stuff can be online and it may not be all the way correct, but
right.
You know how to search for it. You know what I mean? Like, which is an art in itself. Like, oh, okay, I need to find out how to get a permit. How do I do that? You know what I mean? So
right.
There's this thing.
No, explain. So like a permit for real estate.
Like for real estate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So like people don't realize that.
Yeah,
like
you got to go through the city and pull permits. Like it's a whole, but if you don't have a mentor, you don't have no, like, that's what, when I say self-taught, because it's like, okay, I had to go do this thing on my own because no one told me how to do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And sometimes you have to just do that. People not gonna help you.
They not.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's just part of the game. But when you come so knowledgeable at something, that's what makes you powerful.
Right. And you gotta show, really what mentors like to see is that you come to the table with something.
Yeah.
Like, don't just come and don't ask me how to tie your shoes up.
Can I take you out for coffee? That's been the one. It's just like, ask your mentor to take you out for coffee.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No, I don't have time to drink a coffee with you. What are you doing?
Right. What are you doing? What do you need? What can I, like, it needs to be specific, but you got to show some sort of
track
movement, record,
yeah,
interest. What are you doing?
What are you doing? What have you done? What efforts have you taken to even ask me to sit in this meeting with you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're confident in that. If someone says like, oh yeah, what do you bring to the table? Here, this is the table that we bring to because we built it.
Yep, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So there ain't no what do you bring to the table.
Right.
We're the table.
We are the table.
Can I have some money?
And when people see that, they respect that. But I will go into a few of my mentors because I've had a ton of people.
Speak on that.
Because, and I'm going to go a little even further back. So first mentor, Dr. Bell. I would have never went to Purdue. I wanted to go to Clark Atlanta University. Was planning to go to Clark Atlanta. The problem with that, it was going to cost 3 times what Purdue would have cost.
Yep, because you're in state.
Because I'm in state. And then Dr. Bell, all the bot people out there, he has a ton of people that has got into Purdue because of him. We'll have to talk about that another time. But he got on the phone with me and basically said, you're coming to Purdue. You're going to be in the business program. And he was just so like resolute and confident, older dude. And almost, I wasn't offended by it. I'm like, all right, cool. I almost needed somebody to tell me what to
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
So that was huge for me because my parents didn't necessarily know. They would have probably preferred that I stayed around Indiana and Ball State. They had both went to college, but my dad had went later in life. My mom had went, for nursing. It was just a different time, and they was real focused on ministry and help. It was just, I didn't really know. So Dr. Bell and my Uncle Derek, because my Uncle Derek is who put me in contact with Dr. Bell. That's the first set of mentors. I get through college, a bunch of crazy stuff happens there. I worked for a few companies. I had some mentorship there that I won't mention. Then I went to graduate school at Ball State. And I ended up getting in graduate school just because I was out of options. I had lost my job. Me and my cousin had fell out. We had some businesses together. I learned some stuff from my late cousin, Michael Harley. Rest in peace. He had taught me some stuff, but we had fell out for a little bit. But we ended up rekindling that relationship before he passed. But he taught me some stuff because he was a union guy. And I seen him handle business where, he come into the meeting and he stopped talking when he ain't getting his way. He start, moving stuff around like, it's going to take how long? And slamming stuff. And, because their union, if you know anything about unions, when they negotiating with GM and all, these are like tough guys.
Yeah, for sure.
They not necessarily gangsters, but the closest thing to it, So, not, my cousin, rest in peace and all that. But what I learned from him was, sometimes you can't just take what everybody telling you. You got to be in these meetings and you got to know what you bringing to the table. Learn from him. Went to college, got through that. I had a professor in college, Dr. Goldsby. He's still at Ball State, and he taught about entrepreneurship. Learned from him. He took us to Disney World. We had all types of experiences. Got to learn how Disney do their business, like how you would be surprised at how like calculated the Disney experience is.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like all these doors you see on the outside, it was almost like a hotel. We were just traveling, and you in a hotel and you see all these hotel rooms, but sometimes you might see like this little door. You're like, I wonder where that go to. Well, you don't realize that little door goes to like a whole backside where all the staff works, where they pushing. It's like the behind the scenes of everything, and Disney has that. And it's like everything you see on the outside, there's 5 more rooms. It's like you got your one hotel room. It's like 5 more rooms behind that to make sure your hotel room is everything you need it to be. So that taught me like, dang, this stuff ain't just
stuff that there's stuff that you don't even see while you're enjoying yourself.
Exactly. That affects everything that's causing you to have a good time.
Yep.
There's so much behind the scenes that you have no idea that's happening. All types of, like, you think they can run a hotel with 500 people and not have 1,000 more things that you can't see?
No.
There's all types of stuff going on. How do you think they get all them towels to your room and stuff fast? They not using the same elevators you using.
Yeah, it's a whole nother
passageways.
Hey, what was when we went to Disney, when we took the kids to Disney, what was the amount that they was making?
Oh,
like daily?
I had to look that up. It was like something.
Wasn't it like 11 million or something?
It was something crazy. I had to look that
day.
up. Yeah, Disney.
And it makes sense because I felt like I spent $1 million just in 6 hours that we was there.
Yeah, they was making a bag a day. But anyway, that mentor showed me how much, like, we take for granted what we see on the outside. Like, people don't know all we went through to get this podcast together.
Yeah.
And so what it taught me about success was that there's just a lot more than meets the eye. So people be like, oh, that's easy. Oh, you can do that. You have no idea
what it takes,
what's happening behind the scenes. And so don't underestimate. Yeah, stuff is easy, but don't trick yourself into thinking it's so easy that you don't have to do a bunch of hard stuff until it becomes easy.
Yeah.
And then I'll fast forward a bit. So a couple of my recent mentors is Dr. Darius Daniels.
DD.
He's a pastor out of Atlanta right now.
He's the truth.
He's a theologian. The guy is just, in terms of breaking down scripture and teaching you about, emotional, spiritual, like character. It's like, okay, He's a huge voice, you know, and he's very similar to my brother. My brother, Pastor Andre Mitchell, another person that just like character-wise, I'm like, how have you done the right thing for so long? Like, and so that's somebody I can access all the time. He's my brother.
Yeah.
Anthony O'Neill joined his mentorship. He taught me a lot about YouTube, podcasting, how these, you know, people aren't just making money from the videos.
Yeah.
There's a whole nother business behind it. You're building a community. You're connecting with brands. You're, you know, affiliate marketing. You're doing a number of things to kind of, you know, actually turn what seems to be free into a business that's generating revenue. Marquell Russell, worked with him a bit. Another dude I respect, kind of comes across like more like street, more hood kind of, but you'd be amazed at what this guy understands about business and how to get customers and the processes you have to put in place to really manage something the right way. I mean, I was blown away when I got this dude, because he has like a gold tooth. So you like, what the hell is this dude gonna teach me about business? But when I met him in person, I met him through my cousin who was doing a mastermind, and he just articulated himself well, and everything he was saying, I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And so,
And that's one of them scenarios where he's tapping in not only with someone that may not be of that caliber, but the street people are going to be able to, the more rougher, he's going to be able to like, oh, okay, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why it's just important never to judge a book by its cover, because
boom, that's it. We do it all the time still.
No, 100%.
But you got to look past that and really see that. So when somebody show you substance, you know.
Except when you're renting the cars, you judge a book by a cover.
when you do it
When
too.
you finna rent one of my whips, when you finna rent one of the whips, or you finna rent the Airbnb, I'm definitely judging. It's just what it is. You know.
Yeah. So those are some people that I've got mentorship
So I have
from.
a question.
And my homeboy Dan. I got to give Dan his shout out. He's taught me a lot.
Dan the man.
Dan the man.
So with these mentorship, you pay for these, right?
Most of them, yes. The last three I paid high ticket amounts for.
Do you? Okay, so if you had to rate the experience, because you actually paid your money for it. So if you had to,
big bucks.
Yeah. If you had to, because you would call me like, I just signed up for another one. I'm like, he's on a roll. But if you had to rate the experience of paying for coaching, coaching services, would you recommend it? What would you take back from it? Is it like, did you overpay, or you think you underpaid and got more than what you like? Explain that, because a lot of people may be standoffish when it comes to that, because now courses, everyone's doing courses and mentorship. What would you rate that experience? Like, would you do it again if another coach came along and you like what they did, or do you think that you kind of like,
It definitely depends on the situation, because sometimes I felt like I got more at times, and then sometimes I felt like I got less. So overall, I would say, and we've talked about this, when you're dealing with coaches, you need to do a lot of self-evaluation before you just pay to get a mentor. And here's the things I would say is that you need to make sure you have the time to actually commit to the mentorship and execute on what you're being told. Like, so let's say with Marquell, I was with him for like over a year. I know that there was a ton of good stuff because I looked at it a few times, but I rarely executed. So I can't even fully evaluate that one. And I tried to get some of my assistants, because I had virtual assistants, and, well, hey, do this for me. But then they would get stuck because they needed me and my input on stuff. But I like how organized, and I could see my progress in his program. And he was one of the last ones I did. But I have to more so blame myself on that one, because I didn't do the proper
Put in the work.
self-evaluation to do the work. So would I do that one again if I knew that, you know, I had
The capacity.
the
to do it.
capacity to do it?
Oh, gotcha.
So that was his. With Anthony's, I would do Anthony's again. Anthony's wasn't that expensive. But what for me, here's my thing. I don't know until I do. So once I got like the first 2 gems of, you know, do this, post it these times, I'm like, oh, I need to go do that.
Yeah.
And so, and then trying to execute on the first bit of information, let's say the first semester's info, I got stuck there. So yeah, we still getting more info of what to do, but I was like, I need to do this. And then I realized again, I don't have the capacity I need. And so what you see here is partly because I was like, okay, I need the full kit and caboodle, so to speak. There's no sense of half, you know.
Yeah, half doing it.
Half doing it, you know. Trying not to curse my mama. Make sure she don't.
Hi, mama.
I don't get in trouble. But
We don't like cussing on, on our platform. So
cursing
sometimes
anyway. We got kids now. I can't even watch TV shows with curse words in it.
Sometimes it
necessary.
slips out.
Sometimes it really emphasizes the point really well. But, you know, you don't want to half do, you know, stuff. And so it's like that mentorship. Yeah, I would do it again. But you have to realize, like, before you get into it, do you have the capacity to do it? And then Darius is probably the person I was the longest with because I was like with him for a year, and then he gave us another year. Him and his wife, Shamika, great people. I met so many good people. They went like really. I met a lot of good people in Anthony's too. They went, I feel like, above and beyond, just because it was a lot of. I just got so many connections from that. So that one I would still do again, even though I got probably 50%. And this is when I had a little bit more time. And so I was executing, and then I stopped around maybe 40 or 50% through. And I just got busy with my own entrepreneurship and my own stuff. And so again, my biggest thing to people is, yes, you can do it. But you really, before you go super high ticket, you probably need to start with something small.
Yeah. To make sure you even grasp the concept of coaching.
Yeah, grasp what coaching means, because coaching,
You're
a
in
lot of
school.
times,
It's almost, you're like,
here, Steve, here's your to-do list.
yeah.
Execute. And we're going to come back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. There's going to be more for you to do. What have you done? And if you're not able to execute, you're going to
Wasting money.
you're gonna, what do they call it in school? You're gonna fall behind. You're gonna fall behind, and now it's gonna be, and then you're gonna have a family trip, and it's like you really need to make sure, like, you're ready to be in school again. And not all of them are like that. There are situations. Oh, I got him 500s course.
Yeah. Him 500 course is overwhelming.
It's a lot.
It's like you're in school.
You in pure school. And I've had that course. Now, what I like about his course is I still have access to it.
Right.
And that was 3 years ago.
So all the rest of them, they cut you off?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if all of them cut me off. I might still have some access to Dr. Darius's stuff. Because again, they be going above, and they had you used to get access to all his stuff.
Yeah.
So he teaching you about the Bible. He teaching you about how to speak. He teaching you, how to create a course. It's like, so it was so much good stuff too. So I don't even know how much I have access to. And again, I was on it for a while, but I kind of fell off. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. Thank you for that.
I think you need mentorship.
Yeah, I agree.
But you just got to find it in pockets.
Yeah.
You can't always get the full
thing. You're never gonna get that. It's tough.
It's tough because where are you at?
Yeah, for sure.
I could go. You could go learn from LeBron right now, but are you prepared to get? And that's what I'm trying to emphasize to people. Are you prepared to learn from LeBron?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what time he wakes up in the freaking morning and his schedule? Like, you think you want to, like, that's why they give you these small little camps.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to learn for 7 days. I'm going to have your full attention, and then take what you can. And hopefully by the time I see you next time, you're a little bit better. But so mentorship, you just got to understand where you at. And then I think, like, with people that I'm in contact with on a daily basis, like my brother, like Dan, like my business neighbor. There's, I think, a hack, and I still got to fully explore it, but we got to get into these chambers of commerce where you got other business people that's actually successful in your area, and you can kind of, like, because I was trying to get some type of business insurance, and I had no idea where to go. My neighbor right here, who's a contractor and has been in business like 20 plus years, being friendly with him and learning from him and being humble enough to not act like, yeah, we in the same office complex, but I'm not gonna act like I'm doing what you're doing. You're a real
you're on it.
You're on it. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But I respect the level you're at and I want to learn, and I'm humble enough to say, look, this is something I don't know. Can you teach me? And he gave me contacts that I wouldn't otherwise have. So it comes in pockets.
Yeah.
And,
but just to piggyback off that shows you how important it is to always be willing to learn.
Yes.
Always, because that's mentorship in itself. You may not have someone that is that person that you can call, but you may have a friend or somebody that is giving you, but it's just like, oh, be a sponge.
Be a sponge.
And I think that's how you win.
Yeah.
I think you win by having like-minded people around you and having people that are doing better than you.
Yep.
Because it's just that, people talk about non-successful people hanging around each other. How can I be successful if the only people I'm looking around are not successful? It's impossible.
It's very much impossible.
You know what I mean? And it just shows you how important it is to get out of your comfort zone and to talk to people. And if you have a question or something, like you said, like this is the time when you humble yourself, because you don't know.
You don't.
If I don't know something, I'm not gonna act like, oh, I know. I need to know this.
I need to know. I need
you know
help.
what I mean? And I thank you for that. And not hoping that a person is not looking for something back when they're giving you the game. You know what I mean? It's just like, thank you for that.
And I'll say one other thing that I think emphasizes your point: more is caught than taught. More is caught than taught. And so when I see Ed, he'll do small things. There'll be something like trash in the parking lot. He'll go pick it up. Like, oh, I need to make sure my parking lot is,
Right.
especially with all these
Cars.
I was trying to say it nicely. All these cars. I came here yesterday after just getting back from a work thing, and there's like a body armor just sitting, rolling in the parking lot. I'm like, why are people so? Oh, but you have to
lead by example.
Exactly. So I'm watching him, and he's the boss.
And he older.
He the boss. Like
Yeah.
he could have any of his 20 workers go out there, but he's like, no, I'm going to go and clean up my own parking lot because I have, I value, I have self-respect. Even though he's paying for this area, like, just enough self-worth to be like, and I caught that from him. He didn't come and teach me that.
Right.
But I caught it by watching his example and his behavior. And like, now I need to make sure my situation or, my house and my things are kept up. And like, you see some trash, pick it up.
Yeah.
Put it away. Have pride in your workspace, in your, and it's like little stuff like that. Like,
Makes a difference.
it makes a difference.
And that rubs off.
It rubs off.
Like you said, oh shoot, he's out here picking up trash. Let me make sure my home is tidied up. Let me make sure my workspace is together. You know what I mean? Like that rubs off. But the only way you know that is by being surrounded by that.
Being surrounded by it, like you said.
If you weren't in this space, you know what I mean? Like, it's different when you see somebody that's an actual boss doing worker stuff.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I have to do this because this is my baby. I'm not I can't expect someone to do, like, this is still an obligation of mine.
The CEO can still be the chief janitor.
For sure.
Because I'm not too high up on my high horse to say, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna leave that for somebody else. But like you said, I'm seeing it. So you might think in your head, oh, once you get to the top, once you a boss, I'm gonna kick my feet up and watch TV. No, you gotta be still willing to clean the bathrooms if you got to, because you have pride in what you doing and what you building. And when you, like you said, you get around that, it's like, that's mentorship without a conversation.
Yeah. Yep. That's deep.
It is. So I'm working on that. Still trying to learn.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's what's up.
What else you got for 'em? It's mentorship, folks. Start sometimes with family if you're grateful enough to have it.
Yeah.
You know, be grateful for your family, people that have mentored you. You know, sometimes they couldn't teach you everything, but what they did show you, sometimes you got to catch that and build upon it.
Yeah.
You know, what else we talk about? Be humble.
Be humble.
Get around the right people. You know, recognize all the stuff you've learned throughout the years and just build upon it, man. And you know, you do need help, but just understand sometimes it comes in pockets and sometimes you don't need help all at once.
Yeah.
Like really evaluate yourself first before you try to, you know,
Take on too much.
go to an NBA training camp and you ain't even played, you know, elementary basketball.
Yeah.
Like,
It's levels to learning.
it's levels to learning. So learn at your level. When you wondering if you should get into the next thing, like make sure you're learning at your level. So, all right,
dope.
y'all. We hope this helped y'all as much as it's helping us.
For sure.
You know, find you a mentor, find the right one, and if you can't, get a book, get on Google, teach yourself. Until next time, as always, stay motivated.
Peace.
Peace.
I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.